Some work that I did off camera was I added the snapshots for the remaining events that we have. So here we have, in the snapshot, we have added process for coloring something. And what this will do is we'll do an upsert. So we have repo insert all, which takes the atom for the type of table it is, which in this case is component. Now that color component may or may not have existed. So first we assume that it doesn't exist, and we say we want to update these values, which is the entity ID, the type, and the data. And it does not have a space ID. Components don't have a space ID, they just belong to an entity ID. And I removed the inserted at and updated at, so those really aren't important, so I removed them out of the model. Then there is a unique key between entity and type, because the particular entity will only have one component of one unique component for that type. So if there's a conflict, then replace any records that are conflicted, replace the data, because this is going to be what contains the value of the color, which is the color string. And the conflict target is the two unique fields on that unique constraint. So I tested that. That works out well. That's in the test. And it tests both insert and then upsert. And then we have one for entity deleted, which we're just sending a query to delete all for any entity ID that matches. And here we're removing timestamps out of the model, creating that unique index, creating the test. So now I want to be able to see a little bit of animation, a little bit smoother transitions as we create things. So as we receive those messages in Scene Manager, we're going into draw them, right? So the drawing happens in here, this find or create avatar, or saying that member moved. Let's do one for entity created. I was thinking it can grow from a scale of 0.1 and then go into its correct scale. So on the find or create mesh, we want to animate it. So let's look at Babylon animation. So this sort of style needs, let's see, introduction of designing and animation description, sequencing, grouping, and combining action. All right, let's go through this quickly. So what is an animation? Okay, designing an animation. Okay, so we can create a new Babylon animation. Name of the animation, the part that you want to change, the frame rate, whether it's cycles or not. Then this needs to push some keyframes. We're seeing an animation. Putting an animation in reverse. There's also a way to create an animation that's just used once, right? Here we go, scene. begin direct animation, target animations from all of the animations to apply to the target. Sequencing animations, so this just is about pushing keys. Grouping animations, forming a group. Create and start animation. Name, mesh, target property, frames per second, total frame from to. Okay, so it has a beginning value and an ending value. Okay, so this will scale a box. Let's try this. Okay, so here we're creating the mesh. If there is no mesh, then this thing will create this thing. So at the end of this thing, we should have a mesh. And then we process the component. That's actually the ending position of it. So this is in creation. So creation currently is putting it at the origin. Process the component. So we could do something here. So we want to use the mesh. We'll say appear, and we'll say okay, the property on this scaling. So this is the frames per second, 30, total frames 120 frames. So it should happen over a matter of seconds from 1 to, so it grows. So we want it to go to scale 1, and we'll say go from 0.1. So what would this look like? Oh, everything is stretching. Interesting. Why does it keep happening over and over? That is cool. I like the animation. Why does it keep doing it though? Oh, the last one is whether it ends, right? Loop mode. let's say 0. Guessing is don't do it again. Oh, that seems to be going in reverse. I should read the documentation. Okay. Name, target property, frames per second 30, total frames 120 from 0.1 to 1. Okay. And the loop mode should be, loop mode is a number, which I think it is Babylon. Let's see, animation. Let's look at the documentation. Loop mode. Babylon JS loop mode. Yeah, it's a number. Animation loop mode. Anything in loop mode? Okay, now it just does it once. Whoops, where'd it go? So if I create a new thing here at the origin, let's do tools, primitives, a cone. Did it do it? Couldn't tell. Let's add a box. Yes, it did it. Kind of cool. It's a little slow, but we'll work on it.